Levin joins me now live from California. He's the director of the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism. Brian, thank you very much indeed for your time. Many people around the world will just be waking up to these extraordinary developments, a second attempt, it would appear, on Donald Trump's life. What is your reaction?
Well, we have three types of people that engage in this kind of directed violence, including assassination attempts. That is folks that are ideologically motivated, could be political, religious, or both. People who are undergoing some kind of mental or emotional distress, personal benefit or revenge, or some combination of the three where one predominates. Here's what I think is so interesting. This looks like someone who's been bouncing around the political angles from left, a former Trump supporter, to now against Trump. Someone who was involved in trying to get involved in some way, at least tangentially, with regard to Ukraine and traveled there. So this might be someone who's trying to make a statement as much about his relevance as ideology. And these angry people who are trying to make a statement and connect themselves to a cause can be dangerous. Of course, more information to come. But the fact is, no matter what, these kinds of unstable people have access to these kinds of weapons of war here in the United States.
Yeah, we're just seeing some live pictures now from Florida, Brian. Heavy security presence around Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence, as you would expect. And it does beg the question about how heavily presidential candidates and former US presidents will now have to be defended by security forces. This is a second attempt after decades without one on a presidential candidate. Is this a new normal that the United States is going to have to get used to?
I think it's a new normal, but bear with me on this. I think it's a new normal that's ratcheted up by a couple of things. Social media, in other words, the ability to get radicalized, but also to use social media to get information about where candidates or where public officials are. But also, if you noticed, back in 1975, when Gerald Ford was attacked twice in 1 month, it was via handguns in public places. Now we're seeing the use of rifles both in public places like rallies, but also at golf courses that were reserved just for him. So the threat is amplified and broadened more today than it has been in the past, but it's been a threat that's been going on in the United States for decades.
Indeed, but Donald Trump himself has been accused on a regular basis of stoking extremism. We've seen a number of incidents, including, of course, the Capitol Hill riots. Does he bear some responsibility, given his inflammatory language?
Well, certainly one of the things that our research has shown is things, for instance, like hate crimes have increased not only after an event, a conflictual event or a violent event, but after he makes comments about it later on, whether it's Charlottesville, whether it's the Muslim ban after the San Bernardino and Paris terror attacks. So we see an extra bump up, for instance, in hate crimes, and we've been seeing increases in targeted violence and threats against elected officials. I think candidate Trump and others should really tone it down. But remember, there are a lot of angry people and a lot of this invective online. But these high transmitters put that fire line across a greater expanse of terrain. I think you're right.
Yeah, and President Joe Biden is well known for his anti-weapon stance. Donald Trump, much less so. Do you think that there's any chance that these two incidents in the space of 2 months may in any way change his direction on that?
Certainly, I don't think candidate Trump. Interestingly enough, President Reagan talked about reasonable gun control after the assassination attempt upon him in March of 1981. The problem is now is that we are so divided politically in the United States. Anything but the most minimum restrictions, which are constitutional, things like who has access to weapons, the type of rounds, and background checks, things that Americans generally agree upon, are not reflected in the Congress. So it's highly unlikely with this divided Congress and this conflictual election that we'll see anything. And if we do, it'll be the most minimal type of restrictions. And remember as well, Supreme Court has broadened gun access to the public. So that's something.
Indeed, a Supreme Court that Donald Trump has helped to staff and sway in one direction. Brian, we thank you very much indeed. We'll have to leave it there. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.